What if I told you the Cleveland Browns just made a move that nobody's talking about, but reveals everything about their championship mindset? While everyone's debating the big names and flashy signings, Cleveland quietly pulled off something that tells us exactly where their heads are at for this season. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to see why this seemingly small roster decision could be the canary in the coal mine for what's coming next in the AFC North. The Browns just released Ralph Holley from their practice squad. Now, before you click away thinking this is just another depth move, hold up. This story goes way deeper than you think, and it's about to blow your mind when you realize what Cleveland is really doing here. Ralph Holley isn't your typical practice squad washout. This is a 25-year-old defensive tackle who literally just helped the Toronto Argonauts win the Grey Cup in 2024. We're talking about a guy who tied for the CFL League lead in sacks with 8 takedowns from the interior defensive line. Let that sink in for a second. 8 sacks as a defensive tackle in professional football. That's not luck, that's pure disruption. But here's where it gets interesting. Holley didn't just stumble into Cleveland's lap. 7 NFL teams worked this guy out before the Browns finally pulled the trigger. We're talking Atlanta, Tennessee, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, and New Orleans. That's a who's who of franchises that saw something special in this 6 feet 1 inch, 285-pound wrecking ball from West Bloomfield, Michigan. His college resume at Western Michigan is absolutely bonkers. 50 games, 138 tackles, 45.5 tackles for loss, 20.5 sacks, and 5 forced fumbles. Those aren't just numbers, those are impact statistics that scream game changer. This is the kind of production that makes NFL scouts wake up in the middle of the night with cold sweats wondering how they missed this guy in the draft. So here's the million-dollar question that's eating at me and should be eating at you too. Why did Cleveland bring in this statistical monster, give him a taste of NFL life, and then cut him loose faster than a bad Tinder date? Because what they're doing is pure chess, not checkers. Think about it. The Browns have been building something special on defense. Myles Garrett is obviously the centerpiece, but championship teams aren't built on one superstar. They're built on depth, versatility, and the ability to rotate fresh legs that can still bring the heat when it matters most. Cleveland's front office isn't just throwing darts at a board hoping something sticks. They're methodically evaluating every single option available to make sure they have the right mix of talent when the playoffs roll around. Here's what most people don't understand about the Holley situation. The Browns didn't release him because he couldn't play. They released him because they're being surgical about their roster construction. Every spot matters, every decision has ripple effects, and Cleveland is playing three-dimensional chess while other teams are still figuring out checkers. Now here's where it gets really spicy. Holley still has his CFL rights held by Toronto through 2025, which means he's essentially a free agent that any NFL team can scoop up right now. But Cleveland got the first real look at him in an NFL environment. They got to see how he practices, how he learns, how he adapts to the speed and complexity of professional football at its highest level. That's intelligence gathering that money can't buy. And if you're enjoying this deep dive into Brown strategy and want to make sure you never miss when we break down these moves that everyone else overlooks, smash that like button right now and subscribe to Brown's Breakout. We're building something special here, and I need your help to keep bringing you this level of analysis that goes beyond the surface level takes you get everywhere else. The reality is that Cleveland's defensive line has been a strength, but in today's NFL, having strength isn't enough. You need depth that doesn't drop off dramatically when your starters need a breather. You need versatility that can adjust to different offensive schemes. And you need the kind of pass rush that keeps opposing quarterbacks up at night wondering where the pressure is coming from next. Holley's 8 sacks from interior line in the CFL prove he has that rare ability to collapse the pocket from the inside. That's gold in today's passing league, where quarterbacks are getting more mobile and offensive lines are getting better at handling edge rushers. But a defensive tackle who can consistently win one-on-one battles and get home to the quarterback? That's the kind of player that changes games in December and January. But here's the plot twist that nobody saw coming. By releasing Holley now, Cleveland has essentially done their homework on a player that could come back into play later in the season. They know his strengths, his weaknesses, and exactly how he fits into their system. If injuries hit, if they need a specific skill set, or if they want to make a move that catches the rest of the AFC North off guard, they have all the information they need to make it happen. This is next-level roster management that shows Cleveland isn't just thinking about right now. They're thinking about November, December, and hopefully deep into January. They're building flexibility into their system that allows them to adapt and evolve as the season unfolds. And let's be real about something else. The AFC North is an absolute bloodbath this year. Cincinnati has weapons that can score from anywhere on the field. Baltimore has that physical style that can wear you down over 4 quarters. Pittsburgh always finds a way to be in the mix when it matters most. Cleveland can't afford to be outmaneuvered by any of these teams when it comes to roster construction and strategic thinking. What the Holley move really tells us is that Cleveland's front office is operating at an elite level. They're not just collecting talent, they're curating it. They're not just filling roster spots, they're creating options. And they're not just thinking about this week or next week, they're thinking about the long game that leads to championship football. The beauty of this whole situation is that Holley's story isn't over. Whether he catches on with another NFL team, goes back to dominate in the CFL, or finds his way back to Cleveland down the road, he's proven that he belongs at this level. And Cleveland has proven that they're willing to explore every avenue to find the pieces that complete their championship puzzle. This is what championship-level organizations do. They turn over every stone, evaluate every option, and make tough decisions based on what's best for the team's ultimate goals. Cleveland isn't just trying to make the playoffs. They're not just trying to win the division. They're building something that can make a serious run at bringing a Lombardi trophy back to Cleveland. So when you see moves like this that seem small on the surface, remember that championship teams are built on the accumulation of smart decisions, calculated risks, and the willingness to think differently than everyone else. Cleveland is showing all the signs of an organization that's ready to take the next step, and moves like the Ralph Holley situation are just more evidence that they're playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. The Browns are positioning themselves for something special this season, and every decision they make is bringing them one step closer to the ultimate goal. Keep watching, keep believing, and get ready for what could be the most exciting season in Cleveland football history.